There is a thing you do. You probably haven't noticed you do it, but you do it constantly, and so does everyone you've ever met, in every country, in every language, across every recorded culture we have documentation. When someone says, "I love you," and then stop, you believe them. Not the "I love you" part, the "but" part, the part that wasn't there, the part that was air. And if they had finished the sentence, if they had said, "I love you, but I need some space," or "I love you, but this isn't working," you would have trusted it less. The completed thought would have felt rehearsed, managed, constructed for your consumption. The silence, though, the silence felt like the truth. This happens every day. In hospitals, in courtrooms, in kitchens at 2 in the morning. The unfinished sentence carries more weight than the finished one, and no one taught us this, and no one can explain why. And that is either very interesting or very unsettling, depending on how much you've slept recently. The obvious answer is that finished sentences are too neat. Real thought is messy. Real emotion is incomplete. So when a sentence arrives fully formed, with a subject and a predicate and a tidy full stop at the end, some part of your brain files it under prepared remark. It sounds like something someone practiced saying, which means it sounds like something someone decided you should hear. And that's a very different thing from the truth. Researchers at Binghamton University found in 2015 that text messages ending with a period are perceived as less sincere than messages without one. The period signals finality. Finality signals deliberateness. Deliberateness signals that someone thought about what they wanted you to receive, which means they filtered. Which means what you received is not the raw thing, but the processed version of the thing. We have apparently decided, as a species, that processing equals lying. This is a reasonable heuristic. It works often enough. But it is also the reason that a person who carefully, thoughtfully, completely explains their feelings to you will be trusted less than a person who breaks off mid-sentence and looks out the window. The window looker seems more honest because they seem unable to finish. Unable implies they're not in control. Not in control implies the words are happening to them, rather than being deployed by them. We trust the involuntary. We are suspicious of the deliberate. This is, when you write it down like this, a completely insane way to evaluate honesty. In 1927, a Soviet psychologist named Bluma Zygarnik noticed something about waiters in a Viennese cafe. They could hold complex, multi-table orders in their heads without writing anything down, right up until the moment the food was delivered. Then they forgot everything. Incomplete tasks, she found, occupy working memory in a way that completed tasks don't. The unfinished thing lodges. The finished thing releases. Yale researchers confirmed a version of this in 2011. Incomplete items on a to-do list intrude on unrelated thinking. The brain treats the unclosed loop as a live process, something that requires monitoring, attention, ongoing resources. This is the Zygarnik effect, and it is almost certainly doing something to you when you hear a sentence that doesn't end. The unfinished sentence stays open. It occupies you. It requires your participation. You find yourself reaching toward the missing ending, supplying possibilities, returning to it later. And because you are now invested in it, because your own cognition has become entangled with this incomplete thought, it feels intimate. It feels like yours. A finished sentence is a closed door. You can register it and move on. An unfinished one is a door that's ajar, and you cannot help but look through it. And whatever you see there, you'll trust it, because you found it yourself. The speaker didn't give you the truth. You retrieved it. From a gap they left. This is an extremely effective way to communicate. Whether or not it's honest is a separate question that nobody seems particularly eager to examine. Here is the part that should probably bother you more than it does. If we trust the incomplete can be weaponized. Politicians have known this for decades. The insinuation that doesn't quite become an accusation. The question that doesn't wait for an answer. I'm not saying he's corrupt, but the sentence does its damage in the fragment. The full version would be checkable. The half version lives in the space where your brain fills in the rest, and your brain is not a neutral part. Your brain uses what it already suspects. Advertisers know it too. Incomplete slogans. Taglines that gesture at a feeling without stating one. The campaign that suggests rather than claims, because a claim can be false and a suggestion is just a door left open. Therapists, interestingly, use it in the other direction, the deliberate trailing off, the pause after a patient's sentence. The comfortable silence that invites someone to continue and say the thing they were actually going to say before they said the safe version. The technique is the same. The ethics depend on what you're trying to open. What's strange is that we know this. We've known it for a long time, in the abstract way that we know most things that are inconvenient. And yet the instinct persists. Hear an unfinished thought, feel a small pulse of trust. Every time. Without exception. The mechanism doesn't update even when you're aware of it. You can know right now that a person trailing off mid-sentence might be doing it deliberately. You can hold that knowledge clearly in your mind. And the next time someone trails off mid-sentence, you will still feel it. The small lean forward. The attention sharpening. The sense that something real is about to be revealed. The knowledge doesn't help. It is tempting to assume this is a Western thing. A quirk of English sentence structure, or some artifact of post-Enlightenment ideals about spontaneous authenticity versus performed rhetoric. It isn't. Japanese has a grammatical structure called ma, a concept that translates roughly as negative space, or meaningful pause. What is not said is understood to carry as much weight as what is. Incomplete statements are not considered failures of expression. They are considered the more precise form of expression, the one that trusts the listener to complete the meaning themselves. In many sub-Saharan oral traditions, the proverb form deliberately withholds the conclusion. The elder states the first half. The listener is expected to supply the second. The wisdom is in the gap. The audience's participation is the point. And across documented hunter-gatherer societies, anthropologists have consistently noted that confident, complete assertions are treated with more skepticism than hedged, uncertain, incomplete ones. The person who says the animal went that way with full certainty is questioned. The person who says, I think, it might have, is followed. This is not a quirk of language. It is older than language. The animal that paused mid-gesture and looked uncertain was demonstrating that it was actually paying attention to what it had found, rather than broadcasting a predetermined signal. Uncertainty in biological signaling is a marker of genuine engagement with reality. Certainty is a marker that the signal has been optimized for transmission. We evolved to trust the first kind, the uncertain kind, the kind that seems to be happening in real time. We are, in a very literal sense, wired to believe the incomplete sentence. The wiring is very old. It predates the sentence. So here's where we are. You have a brain that was designed over millions of years to trust the unfinished over the finished, the uncertain over the certain, the sentence that breaks off over the sentence that completes itself. This made sense, once. In a world where complete, confident assertions were usually optimized displays, rather than accurate reports, the hesitation was signal. The gap was data. We don't live in that world anymore. Or we do, but also in several other worlds, layered on top of it. And those other worlds contain political consultants, and content strategists, and people who have spent their entire careers learning exactly where to leave the sentence unfinished. And yet, the instinct remains, perfectly calibrated for an environment that no longer exclusively exists, pointing at authenticity like a compass needle, helpfully indicating magnetic north. Except that magnetic north has been slowly drifting for centuries, and no one has updated the compass. The sentence that gets left unfinished still feels honest. You will keep feeling this. There's nothing to be done about it. The most unsettling version of this, the one that tends to stay with people, is the following. If completing a sentence makes it seem less true, if full articulation reads as performance, then the most honest thing you can ever say is the thing you chose, very carefully, not to finish. And there's no way to tell, from the outside, which kind of silence you're listening to. There is the silence that happens because someone couldn't find the words. And the silence that happens because someone found them perfectly.